Just preparing to live stream. Okay, I think we are live. All right, fantastic. I'm going to share my screen, guys. By the way, Rishabh, were you able to sort out the Zoom link thing on your laptop?
Sorry, unfortunately, so I'm working out of my office laptop, and that seems to block the URL seems to be shortened in a bit.ly format. But it's okay, I'll continue on phone.
Okay, all right, yeah. So sharing my screen right now, and let's see. I want to put in a short poll. And this is for the three of us, or rather the four of us, to introduce ourselves to each other, right? So I'm going to be speaking and I'm going to be giving across my intro. And while that happens, guys, please share your intro as well. I think somebody just signed up, but I'm not clear how to attend. Yeah, okay, fine. I have it. All right, guys. Just so everybody knows, we are live streaming on YouTube as well. And then the reason we are using Slido is because we are going to be copying the questions from the Slido and inserting that as YouTube chapters. So later, when someone has a very similar question related to what you want to ask, they don't have to watch the whole webinar. They can just click on that question and then they should be able to reach the correct point. All right. For the benefit of the couple of people who just joined in the last instant, please use Slido, introduce yourself. This is the active poll at this point. About myself, my name is Karthik Palaniappan. I've been running August Academy since 2013. I am an alumnus of IIT Madras and Stanford. I have a PhD. I hit this point where I was quite happy with the kind of work I was doing, but still I felt that I wasn't in a decision-making role, right? And somehow I equated decision-making to impact, and I wasn't really seeing my customer. And then I thought, okay, if I did an MBA, I would get to that point. So I took my GMAT. I got a 770 on the GMAT. I got into the exec program at Stanford. The Sloan Fellows, they used to call it at that point. I think they call it the MSX right now. And due to a few circumstances, I couldn't take it up. But the same month was when I started August Academy. So this was 2013, January, right? And if you think about it, we are very, very fortunate to have been in business since 2013 to 2023 August right now. So just completed 10 years and entering the 11th year. We've had the good fortune of working with some very, very talented candidates. Our results are very good. In the US, we've had several top 10 admits. So that includes Harvard, Chicago Booth, MIT, Columbia, Kellogg, Dartmouth, Tuck. Did I say Columbia already? Michigan Ross, and then, outside the top 10 into Duke, Cornell, UCLA Anderson. So a lot of top 10, top 15 admits in the US, and within Europe, every single school in the top 5, our candidates are studying there. So this includes INSEAD, London Business School, IMD, Oxford, Cambridge, IE, ISC, HEC. HEC, I have a very, very special relationship with HEC. The first candidate that I worked with got into HEC Paris. So this was way back in 2013. And since then, every year I've had somebody get into HEC. So, I have, it's my lucky charm sort of thing. My first candidate not just worked with, studied at HEC, but he came back to me the second year and I was like, dude, you just joined college. Why are you coming back again? I said, no, Karthik, you know what? HEC has this dual degree programs. And then I want to apply to MIT and NYU. So he came back again. In the second year, we applied both to MIT and NYU as part of HEC's dual. He got into both and then he selected the MIT thing. So he graduated with an MBA from HEC and an MS from MIT. And then the third year, he just walked over across the campus of MIT and then joined Michael Porter's institute at Harvard Business School. And if you know who Michael Porter is, he's the guru of strategy. And so, in some sense, I have the pride of saying that the first candidate that I worked with ended up working with Michael Porter himself, right? So now he's a very big consultant. So very happy for him. And yeah, I mean, that's definitely not the only success story. That's just the first success story. And then we've had several people get in. So now looking to create some more success stories this year with you guys. Please use Slido to introduce yourself. Somebody from a small group of 5 or 6 people is unfortunately currently unemployed as you got laid off. Used to analyze numbers to create reports that were used by CTOs of top firms across the world to see the ROI of our product. Okay. I'm very sorry. Hope you're taking it well. If I can share something with you, I was also laid off just before I started August Academy. So I was working for a huge automotive company. I got laid off, and then I joined an education startup. And then that was when I realized that I had a passion for education. And then that 6-month period was actually a turning point for me because it helped me understand what my passions were. And then in January 2013. So that's the part of the story that I did not talk about. But because you've said this, I wanted to share it. It was very traumatic in 2012, during the period of the layoff. But 10 years away, I'm quite happy where I am, right? So hopefully you'll be able to say the same thing about 3-4 years later. Someone else, hey guys, why are you going anonymous? I mean, it's a friendly group, and at least use your first name or initials or something along those lines. So somebody else works with local and central governments to advise and structure key infrastructure projects. Okay, sounds good, fantastic. It's not clear whether you're working with as a government employee or as a contractor, but either way, I think it's good. And infrastructure is also very broad. It includes highways, airports, harbors, and electrical lines, pipelines, water lines, and all that. So, some more granularity would be helpful there. But for right now, for a short intro, I think that should be okay. In case somebody has missed out on typing, do you just want to speak and intro yourself? Okay, 2 participants typing right now. Just give a brief intro and then we'll move on to the next stage. So, okay, I'm just going to take another 10 seconds and then I'll move on to the next slide. There's someone else who just introduced themselves. I work in public sector refinery and have completed a couple of green energy projects. 6 years of total work experience. Welcome to our chat. I'm currently working in my manufacturing family business since 7 years. Again, welcome all. So I just want to do a quick pulse check to see where everyone is. So what describes your current status? GMAT done, targeting R1. GMAT not done, but still targeting R1. R1 is just another 1.5 months away, but still, I do believe that there are some people in this bracket still. GMAT not done, targeting R2, future year candidate. So this could be either a deferred MBA or someone who's looking at next year's admission, next year's application for 2025 intake or something along those lines. So it looks like we have an even split. GMAT done targeting R1, GMAT not done targeting R1, and GMAT not done targeting R2. So I'll keep that in mind as I tailor my answers. A minor modification, somebody else has voted for GMAT not done but targeting R1. Definitely, we'll keep that in mind. Just one more poll. In case you have taken a GMAT, what was your last record at GMAT? So one has a 720 to 740. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why 750 plus came ahead of. Oh, okay. I see what's happening right now. Yeah. All right. So I think we have a broad range of GMATs ranging from the 650 to 670 bracket all the way up to the 720 to 740 bracket. Okay. So That's pretty much representative of the real world applications pool as well. Actually, that's not representative of the real world applications pool because that starts at around 500 or something. What I want you guys to understand, appreciate, and cherish is that in spite of the fact that in our applications dictionary, we say, any 600-ish score is not competitive. In the real world, you're still in the top 85 percentile. Okay, top 15 percentile, sorry, which means you're very sharp and you have a high IQ. All that is acknowledged, understood, and that's what it means. It's just that the competition for seats is like ultra fierce, and because of that, you may lose out. But that's still a score that you can be proud of. So let's keep that in mind. Moving to the Q&A part. All right, guys, you can type in your questions here, and then we'll take it one at a time. If I need clarifications, I might ask you for clarifications, and hopefully the person who typed in the question is also in our Zoom Hangout today, so they can provide the clarifications, right? So somebody says, Karthik, I did not score well in my GRE 324. Okay, just going back to what we just discussed, anything above 650 on the GMAT or 323, even 315 on the GRE is actually a good score. It's the nature of the unfortunate competition compared to the limited number of seats available that is making us say all these things. All right, so 324 is a good score. It's something that you can be happy with. It's a good assessment of your profile. Yeah, but anyway, moving on. Are there any B schools I should target in R1, or should I focus on retaking the GRE for R2 apps in January? All right. So regardless of whether this is GRE or the GMAT, this is actually a question that I get quite often. All right. And this is a question that's actually very difficult and very sensitive for me to answer. I'll tell you why it is very sensitive. All right. For some reason, candidates think that whatever word that we are saying as in a consultant is saying is gospel. First thing I want you to realize, it is not gospel. Okay. I could be wrong in assessing your profile. Any consultant can be wrong in assessing your profile. All right. If you have something spectacular in your background, a 324 is good enough to get you into any top 15 program. But if you belong to a highly competitive pool and you don't have a lot of differentiators, then yes, your GRE or GMAT score will matter. Okay. Now, the truth is, for most Indian candidates, be they consultants or engineers, they have very little to differentiate themselves with other candidates because, frankly, everybody's resume is the same. All right. In that case, the score becomes a determining factor. All right. Now, assuming you also belong to a competitive background. All right. In that case, I would assume that in a US-centric school, assuming you're male, you would be looking at schools ranked around 27, 28 and higher than that, right? So that would be my suggestion. Somebody, is the person who asked this question with us? Is there any further clarification required?
Yes, Karthik.
Yes, Rishabh, please. Yeah.
Just wanted to check if I was both audible and visible.
Yes, both. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So, Karthik, at this juncture, just to add a couple of brief profile intros for you to probably give a more tailored approach for me. So, at this point, I'm a consultant with 4 years of experience at Deloitte India.
Okay.
Within had a couple of promotions, both of them being fast-tracked here.
Okay.
In terms of roles that I wanted to look at, my initial target for GRE was a 330 plus attempt, knowing that I would at least need to score 3 to 4 points above the median and average scores. And the target range of schools that I had was something ranging from Michigan Ross to a Darden,
okay,
to a Tuck, and maybe an aspirational something like a Kellogg or a Booth.
Okay.
Given that I had a consulting profile. At this juncture, I just wanted to understand what your take would be for me. I mean, right now I'm convinced that I should probably reappear for, given my school range, maybe reappear for my GRE and try for an R2 attempt. But I was also evaluating any European schools I just wanted to take your take on if maybe I should look at something like an HEC with this score in R1, or would that be better off pushed off to R2 as well?
See, if you're going to take the GRE again anyway, I would probably recommend that you wait till the GRE attempt. So, just because a school appears to have a lower average GRE doesn't mean you can't apply with a higher GRE. And HEC has a very short evaluation cycle. I think they give you the result in 5 to 6 weeks. So, I mean, if you're going to take the GRE again anyway, please just take it again and then give yourself your best shot even to that school. I think that would be my advice. The only aspect of that is don't see a lot of candidates tend to push their GREs and GMATs right to the fence. Okay. So if the deadline is Jan 5th, they'll push it to Jan 3rd or Jan 4th. Don't do that. Give yourself about 2 months to work on your applications at peace. Okay. And so if you're looking at January first week kind of deadlines, try to ensure that you finish up your GRE by, let's say, October-ish, and then, work in peace. I think that would be my recommendation.
Understood. Sorry, just a follow-up question on that. Would you recommend me to sort of get acquainted with the process of applying to B schools and probably look at something like, say, Washington Nolan or schools in that range? Is that something that I should try doing in R1, or would you recommend that I put in all of my effort to sort of get to a better score?
Why would you want to do that? I mean, I think it's a personalized answer.
Right.
I can't give a universal answer for everybody, but what is the advantage in it for you? What do you think?
So probably just getting my safety school bet in place and just ensuring that, say, by November or December of this year, I have a B school in hand.
Okay. I've realized that there are two kinds of application strategies for two different groups of people, and it has to do with how well they handle stress. Okay.
Right.
There's one group who likes to have an admit and then push higher. Okay. There's the other group which likes to give it their best shot, and then if it doesn't work out, they go for a lower thing. I think the driving motivation here is if I get in, I don't have to waste money and time applying to more schools, right? So there's both these R1, R2 strategies, and I've seen people do both. Nothing wrong with either strategy. I think it all has to do with how ready you are with regards to, are you close to your GRE GMAT score or not? So that is one thing. And the other thing is, are you the kind of person who's comfortable with the admit? In which case, whatever you're saying is something that you should explore. Or are you willing to ride that wave of discomfort till about March or so? In which case, you can just target all your schools in round 2. Nothing wrong with either. Yeah, just whatever you're comfortable with.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you so much, Karthik.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. So somebody else has a question. NIT, public sector, refinery, WorkX, green energy projects, 700 on the GMAT, NGO WorkX as well. Which B schools to target? Can you elaborate? I would say about the same set of B schools here, based on whatever you're telling me. 324 on the GRE and 700 on the GMAT are roughly about the same. And an engineering profile is quite crowded as well, in the sense there's a lot of people with an engineering background who do apply to business schools. So as a result, I would say, starting from about US News ranking around 27, 28 and going further out. This is not universal. There could be something exceptional in your profile, which will allow us to target something higher. All right. I've had people with 710 get into top 15 programs as well. Okay. But that is not the statistical average. All right. Typically, when 100 people apply with this kind of a profile, around 70, 80 people will end up in the range that I'm telling you. 20, 30 people can end up higher as well, but it will be difficult for us to predict if you're part of the 20, 30 or part of the 70, 80. Yeah. Did I answer your question? Are there any follow-ups for the person who's asked this question?
Yes, it answered pretty much, but you mentioned that a rank of 27, I mean, schools ranking 27 and above should be a safe shot. But this is global ranking or only US? Because I'm
US News rankings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else, Pawan?
This is only for US schools.
That is correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And any take on European schools, for example, Oxford, Cambridge, or HEC, or other schools in Germany and France?
See, Germany, I don't know much about the German schools. Okay, that's my honest take. See, Europe, the thing is, we have had experience with the top 7 or 8, but nothing beyond the top 7 or 8. So I've had people getting into London, as in London Business School, INSEAD, IMD, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, HEC, IE, IESA, and I think there were 1 or 2 people into Bocconi. Okay, so these were the 8 to 10 programs that my candidates are studying in, and as far as your RSM, Rotterdam, right? So that and Dublin as well. So these are the programs that we've had people get into. We've not targeted Germany so far, so I cannot give you like an honest answer about Germany. It may be possible. With regards to France, like I said, INSEAD and HEC we've tried, but not beyond INSEAD or HEC. So ESSEC may be possible, I guess. I'm not 100% sure because I don't have personal experience there. HEC, I think another 20 points will be very useful. Not universally true. If you have some differentiating kind of a profile, even 680, 690 may be okay. But assuming you're a typical engineer, then you belong to a crowded background. So 720 may be important. Yeah.
Okay, even for Oxford, Cambridge, and INSEAD.
Definitely, yes, yeah. So I would say outside the top 5 to 7 in Europe.
Okay.
Top 5 to 7, we'll have to really look into your profile and see if there's the differentiating factors there. If it is there, then no harm in trying. If it is not there, then the choice is yours.
And one more question I had with respect to Canadian-based schools, for example, Rotman, Ivy, and Schulich. With this profile and with GMAT score, may I target, and are they convertible?
See, Rotman may not work. Okay. Ivy and Schulich may be an okay kind of application. Pawan, I can't get into a very detailed shortlist, but I've actually given you all the answers because we actually charge for shortlisting, and there's a very good reason for why we charge for shortlisting. The idea being, we work with a very limited set of candidates every year, and what happens is when we give school suggestions to people who may not end up working with us, we are creating competition for the candidates who are working with us, right? So for those reasons, it becomes very difficult for us to create competition for our candidates. But once you start working with us, you are our candidate, right? In which case, everybody else is competition. So, saying that with a lot of humility, not to brush off your question or anything. But anyway, I think I've given you all the answers, right? Anything not related to shortlisting?
Yes, actually, I understand that, but I was asking this question because I have 2 options whether to go for GMAT retake again or apply this year. So
okay. The thing about GMAT or GRE retake, let me just give you one thing. I think I wanted to give this answer for Rishabh as well, but somehow I got sidetracked and then I lost my train of thought. I've seen people who are able to improve their GRE and GMAT, and I've seen people who are not able to improve their GRE or GMAT. Okay. At this point in time, it is difficult for me to assess whether you belong in the former category or the latter category. Okay. It is probably better for you to have a self-assessment on this. Now, what happens is, I've seen that a lot of people don't have very realistic estimates of where they will end up with regards to your GRE or GMAT. They just think if they study for 2 more months and take the exam 1 more time, their score will go up. It may go up, it may not. And then they'll say, okay, I'll study for 2 more months. I'll take the test 1 more time. These are for-profit companies, right? GMAC is a for-profit company. ATS is a for-profit company. So they're not in the business to, for social service. They are actually charging you every time you take the test. They are charging you every time you send your score to a college, right? So understand that all of this is at play. just because you are being offered the opportunity to take the test one more time does not mean you should do it unless you have a very strong reason to believe that you will improve your score. Okay. Now, why am I saying this, right? I've seen a lot of people go through a lot of emotional trauma. All right. So in fact, there's some candidates who reach out to me every year, right, for about 2 or 3 years now. And the reason they are stuck and not able to progress to the next step is because they have a certain GRE or GMAT and they are unable to improve on it. Okay. Some lucky people are able to improve on it. And then in the same year itself, within a matter of 2 months, they get their target scores, and then, they finish their applications by round 2, and then, they're settled by next year. So don't have a very realistic self-assessment. And if you believe that you have reached your saturation point, there is no harm in accepting your score and then changing your list of universities according to that score. But if you sincerely believe there is room for improvement, then by all means, take 2 months, 3 months, even 1 year if need be, but ensure that the time you spend is worth it, right? So this is not possible to predict 100%, but ensure that, you have very strong reasons for believing why you do that. I know you didn't ask me this question, but I felt it is my responsibility to give you this suggestion. Yes, Pawan, any other questions?
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. So somebody else has a question. Karthik, I have a family business, WorkX, and by August 24, it'll be 8 years. I have a GMAT score of 720. Will my profile be competitive for top B schools? Assuming you are male, right? 720 will help you look at a top 25 kind of program in the US. Worst case, maybe like a top 30. And if there's something exceptional in your work experience, I can even look at a top 17 or 18. Okay. But in the average case scenario, a top 25, I think would be good. Within Europe, a top 2 or 3 may be very difficult, but outside of the top 2 or 3, we can probably explore. Any follow-up questions for this person?
Yeah.
Yes, Vishal. Hi. I think we have been corresponding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please tell me, Vishal.
I just want to know that how to differentiate.
Vishal, your line is not clear. Hello. Yes, Vishal.
Yeah, I'm just saying that how to shortlist B schools based out of geographic locations. For example, how to shortlist that whether to apply to a B school or to a university.
Vishal, sorry, the line is not 100% clear. I don't want to misinterpret your question. Maybe you could just clarify in the chat window or something?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. All right, moving on. Will B schools accept the new GRE shorter version in round 2? What has been the B schools response on this? It's a little hard to establish this at this point rather. I can tell you that the GMAT Focus Edition, Harvard has openly claimed that they will not accept the GMAT Focus for this year. Okay. So GRE shorter version, I don't know if they have a policy in place yet. Some schools may be ambivalent. They could probably take it or not. All I can say is if you take the old GRE or the old GMAT, 100% your score will be acceptable. If you take the GMAT Focus, at least for Harvard, it is completely 100% not acceptable. Other schools, it is probably acceptable. And the same thing is probably true for the new GRE as well. Yeah. Does applying to schools while being unemployed affect the application? Probably not. I'm assuming this is the same person who was laid off in, who said he or she was laid off when we had our intro round. So it should not have an impact, but ensure that you are able to account for your time productively, right? So if it has been going on for 2-3 months, so what have you been doing for the last 2-3 months? How have you been keeping yourself occupied? Ensure that you can write something about it and ensure that, at the earliest instant possible, you are getting back to employed status. That would be my recommendation. But you don't have to be worried about how this is going to look on your CV or something. This was something beyond your control, so don't worry. And this happened to a lot of people last year. In fact, an interesting thing is colleges like Kellogg last year, they included a special deadline for people who were laid off, right? So that should be taken as a sign that they are welcoming applications from candidates, even if their work experience has been adverse, right? I mean, a huge lot of companies laid off people. Google did, Microsoft did, Facebook did. So it's not your fault. And colleges are understanding of your situation. Just ensure that, you're spending your time productively. Karthik, how would you recommend one to shortlist B schools? What parameters should we consider? How do we prioritize between geographies? Any ROI inputs? So it's a very personal choice. Vishal, I think this was probably your question. It's a very personal choice is what I would say. There's some people who want to study in the US, especially people who are looking at technology industry or any Fortune 500 kind of concern, and they want to become consultants to Fortune 500 firms. The US is still the world's biggest and most active economy. So that's something that's very popular. There's some people who are interested in finance and they would consider something in the New York or London area, right? Now we have to recognize that you can study in some other geography and you can still end up in New York or London, right? In fact, the Spanish business schools, IE and IESA, they claim that their biggest non-Spain placements are actually in London, right? And a lot of Indian candidates actually end up studying there and then working in London. INSEAD folks end up working in London as well. So that should be fine. It's not like you have to study in London or Oxford or Cambridge to work in London. Now, with regards to studying in Europe versus studying in the US, see, if you're going to come back to India, I would say only the brand value matters. Okay, so get into the best brand possible and then, come back to India and then, start your life. If you're going to be working in a foreign country, then you may want to consider, okay, where do you want to live the next 5 to 10 years of your life? Do you want to live in the US? Do you want to live in Europe? And then there's some people who like to say, hey, you know what? I want to go to a warmer place. I want to go to a colder place. I've never seen snow before. I have relatives in this particular area. My fiance is in a certain city. I mean, this kind of family sort of input also comes up. ROI inputs, again, I don't think it makes a huge difference in the long term. In the near term, US schools are more expensive than European schools, but, US schools also have higher salary outcomes after graduation. So 5 years out, I think your whatever higher tuition you have paid, that would be more than consumed, right? So a long answer, but if I had to give you the TLDR version, the too long did not read version, that would be, it is very personal. There's nothing right or wrong about any particular geography, any particular ranking range, any particular ROI. It's a question of what matters to you. That is what we take in. At least that's how we work on our shortlist. All right, I think that's all the questions. Does anyone have any other question? All right, I'm going to stop sharing screen. Okay, I think somebody has a new question. Suppose one gets done with their GRE GMAT by October end, how many B school applications can they work on realistically in those 2 months for round 2? Very safely, I can say 3 applications, but you could theoretically go up to 6. So it all depends on how similar the essays are with regards to each other and how fast you are able to work, meaning how you have all the content ready. But yeah, 2 months is good enough for anywhere from 3 to 6 applications. Any other questions, people?
If you had any follow-up questions, could you please write your mail?
Yeah, absolutely. Please go for it. All right, so I'll just take a small break to explain how we work with our candidates. And if you guys want to explore working with us, definitely feel free to reach out. Now, typically what happens is our packages, we follow a very streamlined process. The first step is we ask you to share some information about your background. So we have a structured format in the sense we have about 10 or 11 questions. We would be putting that to you and asking you to write down responses to them. People take about 10 days to 15 days for this. And then once you provide us with that information, we are able to shortlist some schools for you. And like I said, we try to understand what is important to you as we shortlist the colleges. right? So that we keep your personal preferences in mind. We make suggestions as well, and then you get to decide finally which schools you want to apply to based on our suggestions, which are based on your criteria. Okay. And then what we do is for every college, we'll have a brainstorming call, and then we'll discuss your life stories one more time, and then we'll help you put together a bullet point structure for each essay. And then we'll close our call, and then you will write an essay based on the structure, and then you will share the essay with us. And then in 2 to 3 days, we'll get back to you with comments on how you can improve. And we'll keep going back and forth till we get it right. All right. So that's the process. Now, we used to have a variety of packages. Namely, we used to have a 3-school comprehensive, a 5-school comprehensive, a 3-school ultra, and a 5-school ultra. Last month, we decided to discontinue. So the difference was in our comprehensive packages, we had 1 brainstorming call per college. In our ultra packages, we did not place that limit, but we said, if you have a call this week, the next call can only be next week, right? So 7 days between 2 calls minimum. And because of this, the comprehensive package, we charged a little lower, and the ultra package, we charged a little higher. We are in a transition phase right now. We have discontinued our comprehensive packages, and we have slightly hiked our fee on the ultra packages compared to last year. But right now, like I said, we are in transition. So for people who are signing up by August 5 or 10 or something along those lines, we are still offering both the comprehensive, as in something that we just dropped, and on the ultra, we are including last year's pricing as well. Yeah. This is strictly because we are in transition, but shortly, we would expect our transition to be complete, and then we'll stick to the new spreadsheet itself. So by all means, if you want our spreadsheets, please reach out. I'll be happy to email it to you, and then I'll be happy to get into a discussion further as well. All right, people, wish you all the best with your GREs, GMATs, applications, everything. And if at all you feel like you want to work with us, we are definitely happy to work with you as well. Please keep that in mind and reach out. I have a request for people watching this on YouTube. A like, share, or subscribe actually has the power to boost the recommendation of this video to other people who are interested in similar content. And by doing something which is not costing you a lot, you're actually helping us with our marketing. So, please do so. And we'll see you again in about 2 weeks. So thanks, everyone. See you. Bye. Thank you.